Thanks for staying with us. So, as Nigerians, we've heard different stories of friends and family members who have gone into hospitals for routine procedures or for minor medical conditions, and the next thing you hear that they've passed away. Sadly, this recently happened to one of our staff's brother. On the show today, we have the widow of our colleague's brother, who's here to tell us exactly what happened. But before we speak to her, I'd like you to watch this clip of one of our colleagues from News. Did a short documentary on what happened. Watch this.
It was 4 a.m. on the 2nd of January, just one day after the breaking of the dawn of the new year 2020. Kennedy Oseni Akidima, a 42-year-old University of Lagos graduate and a member of the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries, woke up his wife with a complaint of difficulty in breathing. He was an asthmatic patient. After calling the doctor ahead, his wife linked up with a neighbor to get him to the private hospital he sometimes used. According to her, he was put on oxygen immediately he got to the private hospital. But the oxygen finished, and that led to him being eventually moved to the General Hospital Ikorodu at about 8:30 a.m., where the drama that eventually led to his death began.
I was just saying they will attend to him, they will attend to him. Before I go back again, nobody's with my husband. I should go and collect that. I should go and collect food. All these things take for a while. At the end of the day, I go here. That he has given up.
His camera-shy neighbors spoke with TVC News, with the one who accompanied his wife speaking first.
We entered and we were shouting that please they should bring oxygen, they should bring oxygen. They were just shouting, they've called the technician to come and give him oxygen. I was like, is it the technician that will give him oxygen, or the, the auxiliary nurses that are there that are supposed to fix him up, or even there's supposed to be a standby doctor that will attend to emergency cases.
Very nice man.
Very peaceful man. I really want the government to ensure people are promptly attended to during emergencies.
His widow, Victoria Akidima, a preschool teacher, now left with 3 kids between the ages of 10 and 4, and a widowed mother to care for, believes that if her husband was promptly and compassionately attended to for the 2 hours he was at the General Hospital, gasping for breath, he would have survived.
Adibin, they have attended to us from the car. You know, this is between life and death. How will you be telling me to go and be looking for card, folder, before you can save a life?
With these allegations made, TVC News headed for the General Hospital Ikorodu to hear the side of the hospital's management. We met the relatives of some patients who were also complaining.
My husband is having complaint. I was telling them that this man is having complaint. He's having inching in his tummy. I was telling them that they should come and attend to him. They did not answer me. No one of them answered me. Instead of that, they were making jest of me.
The chief medical director, Fumi Bankole, said she would not be able to talk to us on camera due to civil service rules that she must obey. Speaking of camera, she said investigations have begun. She also advised patients and relatives who come into the hospital at any time to take note of the hotlines to make complaints promptly if they sense any form of poor handling.
I don't understand.
But back in the home of the Akidimas, the pain from the sad loss is still very deep. These lovely children have been rendered fatherless. Their mother is a preschool teacher, earning so little. One good Nigerian with potentials has gone again. The very strong reason why the government must address speedily inadequacies in the health sector. Jacqueline Ogo, TVC News, Lagos.
Join us on the show is the wife of the deceased, Victoria Akidima. Welcome, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, obviously. So this is a very difficult interview to have because I understand your pain and I feel your pain. You see, we talk about issue of medical negligence in this country every day on this table. That's the story of our country. And until you put a face to these things, it's almost as if our leaders don't understand what we are going through on the daily. If you can, just give us a recap very quickly what happened that day leading up to the death of your husband.
Thank you. Thank you. We were referred to the general hospital around but at around 7 o'clock or so. There was nothing like traffic on the road, so we got there immediately around 7 after 7, calling for help that they should please, is an emergency case, that my husband is an asthmatic patient that needs
Do you have
help.
an inhaler?
Yes. He has an inhaler, but it wasn't working.
Okay.
So getting to the hospital, we were like shouting. The gate was locked, as in the emergency gate.
That's
Well,
the general hospital or the private
yes,
hospital? Okay.
the general hospital. The emergency gate was locked.
Okay.
I was pulling it
What time was this?
around after 7.
The morning.
Yes, to it. Yes. I knelt down, pulling the gate. Madam, go away. I said, please, my husband is in the car. Please help me out. That is, he needs air, he needs oxygen. Please help me out. Or they could say that we should wait. They went in to call one of their medical person. The person came out, and as she was coming in, they said, no bed, nothing. I said, please, even though it's a chair, you can easily rest his back and you can give the oxygen. All he needs now is oxygen. We have tried all we could. They said, they should bring in the patient. The person that helped me carrying him took him in, and they lay him on a bed that is not well supported. We have to use our hand to support the bed. What next? You said you are coming. What have we been looking at that it got to this stage? I was like, no, please. We have been on one treatment before, and something happened. That is why we are referred down here. Please help save this life, please. My husband was like, please help me. All they could say that I should go and get card. I should go and get food. I said, at this time, please do something just to help him out. All they could use is one nebulizer beside that bed. And you know, before you even put a nebulizer, there should be a substance that you put. There was nothing like that. All they could do is to put the empty nebulizer on him. And they asked, they were like, I should go and get the folder and the card. I got the card. They still asked me to go and get the folder. I went there, pleading that they should please help out. I gave them 1,000 naira. They said they did not have change, that the folder is 500. I said, please, take the 1,000 naira and let me.
Yeah, I know this is a difficult thing to do. I want us to take our steps back a bit, because we know that general hospitals always complain that they bring in the patient when he's almost at the point that they can't do anything about it. I'd like you to take us a step back to when it happened in your house. Yeah. You took first to a private hospital. Yeah. Did you have an inhaler in the house?
Yes, it was with him.
So the private hospital actually started administering the oxygen. But unfortunately, it had finished. Then they referred you to the general hospital.
To general hospital.
Okay, so that is what happened.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, the fact that you got there and the gate was locked, were they on strike? Is it not supposed to be running for 24 hours?
I just don't know. The gate was just locked, the emergency gate, not the entrance gate.
Okay, the emergency.
The emergency gate was locked.
And they didn't give you any reasons why?
No, people were outside there shouting. Even some.
Interestingly, and in fact, not interestingly, sadly, the young lady who was interviewed at the hospital in the video, and I'll probably will show that clip again, her husband died 24 hours after. Same thing. And she's actually related to another cameraman in the studio. So it's really a painful situation where it's so close to home. She was interviewed because we saw her there, and Jacqueline interviewed her, and she was there because of her husband. And 24 hours later, her husband also died. And this happened at the Ikorodu General Hospital. Now, we bring these stories to the fore because it's important that leaders know what we are going through. And obviously, I know you are hurting right now, you're mourning, and you definitely want justice. And that's why we brought you on, because we demand justice. I'd like you, Mariam, to say to come in at this point.
I'm really sorry for your loss now. Okay. But you know, there's nothing to say to her. One way or the other, one of us has experienced this, a relative.
Just
you know, I remember my late mother-in-law ended up at Luth, and you know, circumstances too, she was rushed from the private hospital because the doctor there believed actually that the consultants would be better able to treat what she was, you know, what she had, and they were at the general hospital. And I remember her being in the emergency, sitting in a wheelchair. She had clots, and she had to have her feet elevated. So they quickly rushed her there. They knew that that was her situation, but they left her sitting in that wheelchair for hours. So I have heard this sort of stories many times and many times over. And, you know, apart from lamenting, what can we do? You know, the Minister for Health, the CMDs of all these hospitals, the doctors, the nurses. I just came back with my daughter, so I know that they put in the work, but there's a system of operation, the administration of it. Everything is so scattered.
There are various levels.
Yes, I know. See, you go to the hospital, your child is about to do something. You have to go upstairs, downstairs, round around to get a card, to come back to, you know, everything is just scattered. The standard is horrible. But the thing is, we'll just keep talking. Somebody needs to do something. We need to help ourselves as well. I really don't know what to say.
Amina.
Yeah, so I was in the same shoe just last month. I was on a job somewhere in the Kenya, and I went into a crisis. I'm also asthmatic, and I'd used my inhaler. It didn't work, and I was rushed to the teaching hospital there. And while my my hosts were trying to get me, they got a wheelchair and tried to wheel me in. The doctors and other medical personnel were fighting them for, taking laws into their hands by getting a wheelchair to wheel me in. And of course, they even stopped us for another 30 minutes. If you don't get a card, they won't attend to me. She's a guest here. She's not even, but they insisted they had to follow the process. So I can relate totally with what she just
so
narrated.
we also reached out to the hospital authority.
Okay.
And according to them, they said they are still investigating the matter. And they asked us to call the numbers on the screen that I think Jacqueline picked up those numbers, and that we make an official complaint. But on this matter, they're still investigating. Madam Victoria, I'd like to ask you, I mean, I know you offered to come on the show. What exactly would you like the government to do at this point?
To see how I'm left with 3 children. I don't know where I can even start from. Just to see me through. I may be the holder. My children are still small. And my husband is a realtor. He's the one most of the time. I'm just a preschool teacher.
Right.
My husband helped. Now I'm left with nothing. Even my widow, my mother is a widow. So my brothers are there. Don't just know how they could help out.
You see, this story is so close to home because your husband's brother works here, and even the lady in the other video, her husband's brother also works here. So that's one of the reasons why we had to bring her, because it's so close to home, and we know how painful. That's the woman I was talking about on the screen. So we were on this poor lady now lost her husband. But let me take this call. I think the call's been waiting for a while. Good morning. Are you there? Public Ikorodu. Yes, sir. Go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead. You're live. Go ahead.
I sympathize with the woman there. May God keep her. Only God can condole people in this situation.
Amen.
Madam, God will keep you and help you and help your children and help millions of others who are in this situation. You see, our hospitals are overwhelmed. I just pray that the government will sit down and do a thorough thinking on their programs, and then make these people see that when you are doing your job, you must put everything into it. It's not as if our government officials are not working, but they are overwhelmed. If you go to these hospitals, you will see these things. That's number one. Number two, it's not only the hospitals. Our government should do more. They are doing their best, but they should do more. If you come to Kogi, for example, the roads are still bad. The roads have not started yet. They should do more. They should be up and doing. People should help. People like the richest man in Africa, if you come to this Kogi now between Ogunonto and NPA, the trailers have left Apapa and they are destroying the road. It's not only the hospitals. Our government should come alive.
Thank you very much, Tony. You see, just
I would have expected that the hospital will give a statement as to why they have an empty nebulizer. A hospital as big, a general hospital for that matter. Because when things happen in the private hospitals, those are the places you refer the people to because they are supposed to be the best, the most qualified to handle such issues. So why would they equipped? You know, and then we have our leaders saying that they equip the hospitals, they provide infrastructure, and they have an empty nebulizer. They should be called out for it. We need to get a statement on why they have an empty nebulizer in a huge hospital like that.
I have a call from Morris. Morris, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, this story that you guys are relaying now is so sad. But fortunately, that is just the way we are. But I'd like to situate it at the poor view of the workers, the people who work, the medical officers, the nurses, what have you, at the hospitals. A lot of the times, these people they are supposed to do what they are supposed to do. They know it, but they just refuse to do it. I had a situation last month, December. I had the access, and it was so painful. And I could barely walk. I went to Ifako, a general hospital here, to receive treatment. But even they saw the situation I was, they told me to go and get card. I went there, I got the card, back to an agency, they said I should go back and get food. Now they said they had to bring my folder. They did it. I went back to the registry, they said those people have to come and get the folder themselves. So I kept going back and forth. I was tired until I saw a number on the wall and I called the medical director. It was then, the man couldn't hear me because the network was bad. He asked me to come upstairs, describe his office to me. I went there and I spoke to him. The man was fantastic. And he sent somebody with me to them. It was there that eventually they brought out the folder and they took me there. It's just, I think that it is the people, the way we are as a people. We just don't know how to empathize or do our job.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So, unfortunately, we had to step down our guest because we know that it was a bit difficult for her to be here and emotionally hard for her. So we had to let her go. But going back to the issue, I know that you see, there are a lot of things going through my head. A caller said our doctors are overwhelmed, and we agree. Yes. They are overwhelmed.
We know that.
The issue with national insurance, the issue is budgeting, there's issue with proper procedures. So we understand that very clearly. But when do we begin to actually fix the problem? I was thinking to my head that, with my head, and I was saying that when my son had an issue some years back, and a friend of mine had given me a number of a doctor, and I think I've shared the story before. My friend just gave me his number of a doctor who lives the hospital wasn't so far from my house. So when my son had an issue at night, I called that doctor immediately. He said, bring that child now. My son couldn't breathe. My husband and I entered the car with our pajamas, everything. We're screaming. My husband carried him. We got to the front of the street. The gate was locked. My husband jumped, carried the baby. I left the car there. We started running. As we entered the hospital, they were ready with 3 nurses and a doctor outside
This is how it's supposed to
with
be,
the
Mariah.
nebulizer. They were waiting for us. In the reception, they were able to get that boy revived. Now, that's because I made a phone call. Now, imagine there was a phone call between that private hospital and the teaching hospital.
Thank you. That was sending somebody over.
Somebody right now have an emergency.
Be ready.
Be ready. So what's going on with the hotlines? Do we have a hotline in our general hospitals?
It's not just because you made a phone call. It's because the hospital you were going to was well equipped and ready to take you, because you would have made that call and nothing would have happened.
That's true.
There is, I see, because I've just spent like a whole week in a hospital, so I saw this thing again, reminded me. So yes, I see the areas where they're overwhelmed. Definitely. With the doctors, nurses, those that are doing the cleaning, you can see that they need more hands. Sometimes the nurses in the hospital, especially at night, you just have maybe 1 or 2 people in a very large ward, you know, at night, attending to so many people. And usually, you know, that's when most of the fatalities happen, because how many of them, how many hands, you know, you need. Then you see so much waste as well. So you find an office where the cards are supposed to be, where you're supposed to get information, and then you see files upon files, old files. Especially like where I've just went, Youth, it's a new building, new facilities, but then you would see that the process of doing hospital business is archaic, or somebody is not thinking.
They're not updating.
The thing is, the hospital is run by very intelligent people. I mean, to even be in that business, you must have gone to school, you must very intelligent, and yet it does not translate into the way that we run the hospital.
Let me take this call and hold it for a while. Good morning. Are you there, Vivian? Are you still there?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning, lady.
Good morning.
So sad concerning what is happening. I sympathize with you, lady, concerning your husband. And yes, the experience we've had with our medical outlets here is different. And the reason why it's different is because the leaders do not know how it pinches us. I've had an emergency CS, not just CS, an emergency CS. So you can imagine if I had gone to a general hospital, it would have been a different case. But it was a private hospital. The general hospitals here, we need our people to, how will I put it? We need to think forward. Yes, all these things have happened, but we need to think forward on how to curb it, to reduce it. Nobody has faith in the general hospital. Meanwhile, it's called general hospital, which is meant to be very, how will I put it? Very deep.
Right.
The equipment, why are they not useful? Because nobody is checking and balancing. The leaders are not involved. They travel abroad. When they are ill, they do not come to these hospitals.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Vivian.
You know, what I see is the problem we have with the civil service. That's the bureaucratic bottleneck. Is exactly what has translated into the general hospitals, forgetting that the general hospital is a service industry. They are supposed to be there 24 hours because they are the ones who are going to be saving lives. It's not like the office where you need to pass a file and pass another file and come back today and meet this commissioner tomorrow and meet this minister for one issue. This is where they need you to work at speed. You know, and our people are not being trained. Unfortunately, we have the medical doctors who come from abroad. We have the MDAs, like you said, who come from abroad to work here. But they are forgetting the very important core of that industry, which is the people, customer service. They are not trained to be able to handle those sort of pressure. And so when they don't have any little money paid or something happens, everybody just sees that.
It's a big issue.
I know, but when it comes to I know, but when it comes to saving lives, you are there to save those lives.
I hear
no
you.
matter what your personal problems are.
From the story we've heard, they responded. Yes, it was a bit slow, but they responded. But there was no nebulizer. It was empty. So it's not so much about that they weren't willing to help. They're not really equipped. So there's the multiple layers of issues beyond salary being paid, beyond the fact that some of them are not being customer centric. But the point that many of them are ill-equipped. Yes, I mean.
And so basically, I thought it is a multifaceted problem, and so you should have a multifaceted approach. And you've mentioned government, and then the management, and the people. And so I'm going to talk about the patients as well. So sometimes part of the problem is us, so we need to also meet everyone else in the middle. And by patients, I mean, don't wait till the last minute. Sometimes I'm careless without my inhaler, and I'm asthmatic. I should have my. So sometimes we should put those checks in place.
You're asthmatic. How come your inhaler didn't work the time you rushed? What exactly?
So I think I had. I maybe administered it later than I should have. I probably missed the.
So there are timings for these things.
Yeah. So there's the ones that you use you preventive.
Okay.
I don't do preventive because I don't want to get used to it. So I always monitor my triggers, and once the trigger is there. So I think in this case, I got too busy with the work, and I ignored the pointers, until it was full blown. And so I administered it, but it wasn't working anymore. And so I had to be rushed on emergency. So I think for the patient's bit, maybe not in this case, in her own case, however, but we've heard of cases where patients beat up the doctors. And I mean, still very recently, just last week.
We're not going to end with this because we need to hear from the hospital side. So I know our correspondents have reached out to them. They haven't given us an official statement properly. They just said they're going to look into it. We'll still monitor it. But I think it's important to add that many hospitals, especially general hospitals, have complained that private hospitals, they send them people that they know that there's no way.
Because the private hospital that ran out of oxygen, that is a question mark, a very big question mark. How do you run out of stock? Don't you do reorder levels? Exactly. Don't you check? Is that so the private hospital itself,
that didn't have oxygen at all.
No, they're both parties. But it's a big deal.
So we need to see this also sort of correlates with the Moradium case. When it comes to emergency, the emergency units, emergency centers, we need to, I mean, we have levels of problem with the health sector. But if we can start with the emergency centers.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on the show. But I think before we wrap up, we never do this. I mean, it's not something your view does, but I feel bad that this woman will need their help. She has 3 lovely children left. She's a preschool teacher. Her husband was the breadwinner of the family. We don't do fundraising on your view. We try not to do it because there's so many people that need help. But if you do want to reach out to this person, please let us know, and I'll be willing to link you up with her. She definitely needs something to help her kick off because yes, she's mourning right now, but 3 children without a husband at this moment, I think she needs help. So if you're willing to help her, let us know and we'll reach you.
A call out to NGOs as well. A lot of them deal with widows. This is the time to please come forward and take this up. Yes, NGOs that handle widows. Yes.
That's all we can take on the show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.